I am delighted to announce to you that the Oakland Athletics, Las Vegas Athletics Ballpark groundbreaking will be on Zennie62 YouTube live Monday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And I want to thank Catherine Aker of the Oakland Athletics and her dedicated PR team for setting this up for me and um, being so very accommodating as they always have been. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the Athletics because this is the first time in seemingly, well, technically forever that they've had a new ballpark or a groundbreaking for a new ballpark. Let's get it, not to get ahead of ourselves. We know what's going to happen, but let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. This is the groundbreaking for a new ballpark um, for them, for the Ace. That's never happened before. You know, they never owned their own facility in the Oakland guys. I'm pretty sure that's true for the past versions of the Athletics as well, given the changes in stadium ownership and stadium financing and design. Um, this is the first time the A's have ever been in this situation, so it is, from that perspective, historic, without question. It's very just amazing, or as a friend of mine would say, amaze balls. Um, what to make of this? Well, I think it's like this. All right. First of all, the city of Oakland did not make the right effort, and it didn't try. What's doubly troublesome about this is that the city will say it did try. It didn't. The city did, and this is the problem, did it the wrong way, but won't debrief to figure out that it did it the wrong way. This has been the situation in every single sports business relocation or attraction issue that has come about. The city never says, hey, look, how could we have done it better? How could we have done it so the outcome was better for us? There's never a debriefing, ever. And so that's even when you don't have a change of regime, okay? In other words, like one mayor going out, the other mayor going in, right? Okay? No. Um, there's no introspection. They're just doing. It reminds me of a line in The Dark Knight by Heath Ledger's Joker. It says, I just do things. That's the problem. Oakland just does things. We don't, because I'm Oaklander, we don't do things right. And then we don't want to admit it, and we don't want people to tell us. Okay? We've got to do it right. And that should have been the case with Las Vegas and the Raiders, right? When we lost the Raiders, we should have had a debriefing and said, hey, look, what did we do wrong? And how can we do it right the next time? Nothing like that. Nothing. I called for one. Said, hey, shouldn't we have a debriefing on this? Nope. No debriefing. No debriefing. Just going on to the next issue, which is the problem. No dedicated staff, no sports commission, right? Oakland has no sports commission. Las Vegas has its act together because Las Vegas allows its businesses to do their business and supports them. And so I'm not saying that Las Vegas is perfect in that, but it is culturally better. And so you have to explain it some kind of way. All right. And what we don't do is in the current, we used to do that. We used to do in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and particularly the 80s and the 90s. We used to do what Las Vegas does now. We used to assist businesses. We used to work with businesses. And I think that's because the people that were holding council positions and so on were actually also people who were small business owners, and they They weren't there because they were activists. And I'm not putting down activists, but I am stating a fact. There's a different mindset, okay, that comes when you have a group of people who run their own businesses, who are city council people or mayor. Um, um, I'll take the mayor out of that though, because you don't. A lot. Our best mayors have been people of the government. Lionel Wilson, L.E. Harris, and so I dare anyone to argue that Lionel Wilson and L.E. Harris uh, have not been effective for the city of Oakland, because to make that argument means you're a stupid idiot. Straight up, just are. And so I can make an argument that Jerry Brown didn't do as much as you think he did. At any rate, the one thing that Jerry did do is he, for a time, eliminated institutional investor racism as a factor for Oakland's non-investment problem. Because, well, he's Jerry Brown. Not so much that he's white, but that helped. And so, but it's Jerry Brown. But back to this. The A's, when this ballpark is finished, will gain easily $700 million year one. Okay, that's right, $700 million in revenue, gross. I don't know what the net will be, but $700 million in revenue. That is unprecedented for the Athletics. It is, or will be, one of the highest totals in ballpark history. And it will allow the Athletics to compete for high-priced players, the Shotanis of the world, right? And it will place the Athletics in a new and rarefied economic era that A's fans have never seen before. This is a fact. This is happening. The ballpark, from a design perspective, will be regarded as one of the architectural eighth wonders of the world because of the impact it will have on Las Vegas. Being able to look down the street to this area, an area you can't miss, really, but it has been occupied, let's face it, by a hotel of milquetoast design. That hotel will be replaced by a facility that includes a ballpark and a new hotel. They'll just blow you away. Just blow you away. So, in closing, well, I don't know. How long do I want to go on with this? I don't know. I have so much to say about it. But make sure you subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube, okay? Make it absolutely certain you do that. And bookmark OaklandNewsOnline.com and ZennieReport.com. Make absolutely certain you do those things. And again, I'll repeat this with emphasis. Please make 100% certain you subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube. All right? Now, let's talk athletics. Currently, hey, hold on a second. Hey, Google, what's the Oakland Athletics, Hey, Google, stop. Hey, Google, what's the baseball athletics record right now?
The A's are 5th in the AL West.
And that'll change too. My prediction is that the A's...
Nothing's playing right now.
Thank you. My prediction is that by the third year in the ballpark, the A's will be either first or second in the AL West because they would have been able to afford to make those player changes by then. Okay? They would be able to get the star players they sought after for so long and keep them. okay? And keep them. And keep them. That's the big deal here. Now you would say, well, how does Las Vegas benefit? Well, easy question, easy answer. Las Vegas benefits by having, for the first time in its history, Major League Baseball. You have to remember, Las Vegas is still growing. It's hard to get your mind wrapped around that because you hear about it so much you think it's grown. But no, no, no. From the standpoint of a mature city, mature cities have three things: football, baseball, and basketball. The major league. I don't mean minor league, I mean major league. Am I saying that Oakland has basically destroyed itself and become minor again? Yeah. We have to build back. Okay. We used to want to be there. All right. We used to want to be on that wall. We used to need to be on that wall. And that wall, what does that wall say? Major League City. Now we have people in charge. And merely I'm talking about you, who want us to just be and not major. Now, I know for a fact if I said that to Barbara, she would disagree with me. I know Barbara. I like Barbara. This is not personal. But she's mayor of Oakland. And you're talking to a guy who remembers the times, and because I was working for the Montclarian and and I had worked in Oakland redevelopment, of when we thought, we are the people like myself, Warren, Chip Brown, who owned Hills Newspaper Group, and others who thought that Oakland should rise to the level of #1 city in the Bay Area. Yeah, hey, San Francisco has its tourism, we get it. But in terms of industry, that has been Oakland. World War II, where were the ships built? Oakland. Healthcare. When you worked in the Bay Area during the war, it was more than likely the case that you got your healthcare from Kaiser in Oakland. Steel, shipbuilding, Oakland. Oakland. Today, #1 port in the Bay Area, Oakland. #1 port in one of the #1 ports in the region, in the country, in the world, Oakland. We rank sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We're in there all the time. All the time. All the time. Oakland is the hub of industry. It should want to maintain that. Okay. Now back to the issue of the A's and groundbreaking before I go too far off the other direction. VidBlogger Nation. And we really do have a nation of vid bloggers, don't we? Video bloggers, bloggers, Vlogger Nation. Vlogger Nation. Ooh, I like that. Vlogger Nation. Anyway, yeah. The Athletics, after the ballpark is finished, the ballpark will also have a dramatic impact on Las Vegas tourism numbers. My prediction is the facility will draw 2.5 million people to Las Vegas. And that is deliberately conservative. I mean, I want to go up and higher than that, but I'm going to leave it right there. It will be 2.5 million people that come to Las Vegas for a new reason, baseball. Even if they've been there before, right? Even if they've been in Las Vegas before, the new reason, okay? The new reason, all right? The new reason will be baseball. And my other prediction is that you're going to get, just like for the Raiders, you're going to get a ton of people from Kansas City who are going to plan their entire stays around baseball. Now you're not going to be able to gamble in the ballpark, okay? But my prediction is you're going to be able to gamble on the ballpark, on the grounds of the district. Now, what do I mean? The ballpark is, okay, let's say this is the district. This is the 38.6 acres, right? Okay. The hotel is here. The ballpark is here. You're not going to be able to gamble in here. But outside of it, oh, yeah. And it's still within the district, which means what? They still make the money. Not bad. Okay. Not bad. This will also, the ballpark design will also usher in a new era of ballpark design, free from the shackles of having to look like the old structures, as was the case in Camden Yards. Now, the era of baseball futurism will be upon us when the facility is finished. Because one thing to see this thing in model form, but if the model is truly a representation of what it looks like in real life, wow, okay? Wow. And people will make a lot of trips to see that wow. Especially that translucence where it looks like you're seeing inside, but not quite, that's never been done before. And I certainly hope the material is of the right strength and structure so we don't have these reports of, well, this window pane fell out. You know what I mean? Don't want that. So the Athletics need to make absolutely certain that's not going to happen. Now, since they're basically using the same kind of roof structure that's over at Allegiant Stadium, I think the answer that is a solid no, that's not going to happen. Right? It's proven. I've never seen it quite shaped like that, but it's shaped this way and it's got the roof support and everything else. So then I think about what I'm saying, and I think about SoFi Stadium, which is a sort of a test bed for the kind of materials I'm talking about that are going to be used at the Athletics ballpark in Las Vegas. So they're going to be just fine. But that design is, whoo, my goodness. Someone said Sydney Opera House, as if that's a bad thing. The simple fact that a facility that's considered iconic and you compare it to that iconic facility means that it's going to be iconic. That's how you put that together, folks, okay? Oakland blew it. We didn't get excited about finishing this. We didn't handle this with the necessary focus. And we need to ask ourselves culturally, what's going on where this is happening? And I'll tell you what's going on. Oakland is lazy. We're lazy. Think about it. We're lazy because take the whole matter of the Coliseum, we want to foist it off, not own it anymore, and give it to a company, which is AESCG. And I assert that the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority is trying to set up a scenario where AESCG fails. All right. The council doesn't want AESCG to succeed. Considering the budget hearing where 2 council members said, hey, look, they're involved in a partnership court battle. And they're not. That's not true. But why would anyone say that as opposed to, hey, we love what they're doing, this is going to be a great thing and everything else? It's always something other than that. All right? When it's commented, what AESCG is doing is commented on at all. At all. At all. And that's coupled with my perception, critical perception, is that the organization, like many other people in Oakland, many other organizations in Oakland that are frustrated and want to do something, but they only want to do it with their people, are doing this. They're bunkering. We've got this. This is ours. We know you don't, blah, 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 blah. Folks, I'm telling you, in every walk of life, that is a sure sign that you're going to screw up. Not necessarily fail, but screw up. Because I'm telling you, the one thing I've learned in this life over my 62 years, and I'm proud of that. I'm Zennie62, by the way. Go figure. I was born in 62. I am 62. 62 is a magic number for me. So my point is that the one that you can take the 62 and 726 too. My point is that, and it's a very important point to remember, that just when you believe you thought of everything, there's always that one thing you didn't consider that comes up. And 50% of the time, that one thing is a big thing. That's a coin flip. That's a risk. You don't want to be there. You want to make sure that from a perspective of a likelihood and B magnitude of damage, you want to make sure that of all of those things that can happen, the ones that have potentially the most likelihood of occurring and the largest magnitude of damage are taken care of. You should have that either written out or in your head or both. When I worked to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, I didn't have any help. It was just me. I wanted help, and it eventually got some help. But in the early days of it, it was me writing a proposal. It was me before that answering NFL's questions and making in turn, it's actually 300 questions I had to deal with beyond the 24. And so it's a huge specifications book. And so once I did that, I had my approach. And I sent the NFL and they were impressed. And I saved the city from not being able to be considered for Super Bowl in the first place. Then we built up from there. We got our assistance from Chris and his team, who make our first bid book, and the artist organization that made our billboards for us that I was using in my presentation, so you could see the map of the Bay Area and where our events would be located. It was stylized, and the NFL loved it. When I gave the Super Bowl presentation to the Super Bowl Policy Committee on the 2nd of November in 1999. This was in Chicago at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. So at any rate, that's when Jim Irsay, the late Jim Irsay, very sadly, said, your presentation was outstanding, and he had no problem telling the Indy Star. He called the press, personally, said that, okay? I really thank him for that to this day. I thank Lamar Hunt, if I can jump off for a second, the late Lamar Hunt, for writing me a 3x5 note thanking me for my presentation. Lamar Hunt did that. The legendary Lamar Hunt, okay? Yeah. Stupid me, I should have taken that thing and I should have, that note, and I should have had it just sitting up on my desk for a long, long time. What I should have done was put it in a frame, right? Like it's a picture, and put it up on a wall. Stupid. And I can't reverse time. I don't have that capability. And you know what? I'm not sure that I want to. It is what it is. And it was what it was, which was extraordinary. So my point is, though, is that you can't take, and I didn't. I had every I dotted and every T crossed, and eventually I got a great deal of help from then Oakland Public Works Director Calvin Wong and his awesome group of 12 people who came to our setup meeting and our scenario meeting for our Super Bowl bid. That was, I would say, the best government meeting, one of the best government meetings I've ever had in my life. And I've had quite a few of them. I've been to quite a few of them. But that was awesome. I mean, we were excited, ready to go. They were hyped, okay? But they understood the gravity of a city just even being considered to host a Super Bowl game. See, now, all right, that's how huge it was. Now the NFL doesn't allow bidding anymore. They took that entirely out of the equation, which means they took the governments out of the equation, which means they took the gifts out of the equation, which means people who do what I did in that case are no longer in existence. Why? Because the NFL doesn't allow bidding. That's why. So I am not only the only person to form the bid to host the Super Bowl game for Oakland in NFL history, I will be the only person to have done it in NFL history, because nobody else is coming later unless the NFL makes a dramatic change in two ways. A, it allows bidding again, and B, it's in Oakland again. All right. And hey, look, okay. What I believe will happen is that Oakland will get the NFL back, but it won't have to bid for a Super Bowl. The NFL will take care of that because it has this new process. All right. But yeah, I'm the only one. So for those of you who wonder why the NFL takes such great care of me, it's because they understood, and well, more than that, the NFL saw firsthand how the city of Oakland badly treated me in their face. That's a whole nother story. All right. My point is, I have a lot of personal experience to bring to talking about the history of Oakland that led us to this groundbreaking. There are few people alive who know more about this history than I do. The people who know more are people associated with the athletics. But in terms of the city, Ezra Poor has passed away. Mondelms has passed away. A number of people have retired and went off to different areas. Don't focus on Oakland anymore, if at all. And getting to that point where people are, I hate to use the term passing on, but I'll just say it because it's sad. We've lost a lot of great minds and people that understood what it meant for cities to invest in businesses. That's what this is about. You say, oh, it's taxpayer dollars, right? I say, no, cities investing in businesses. That's how you assure that a business will stay afloat to deliver for you. And that's why you have to have what is called a community benefits agreement. And they have a good community benefits agreement in Las Vegas. We had a baffle one in Oakland that we didn't even put a price tag to. But it seemed to me more like the community benefits discussions more to keep the residents of West Oakland and those who might protest at bay by being involved and be able to yap their mouths in an organized fashion, as opposed to truly being on the outside. The simple fact that this community benefits agreement had no implementation plan with it means that it was a failure, means that it wasn't done right. And that's sad. There was a lot of money to play with. And that gets to the other point. Because they initially didn't do the tax increment financing calculation correctly, the amount of money that they really had to play with was not seen. Later, they got it quasi right and forecast $5 billion in revenue from the TIF stream over the 45-year period, to which they had planned to make a bond issue with proceeds. Proceeds is like upfront check to the Public Financing Authority, right? $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion with a B subsidy. $1 billion. enough money to pay for sea level rise, enough money to pay for subsidized affordable housing, enough money to pay for infrastructure around the area, that sort of thing, and still have money left over. 1 billion. Okay, 1 billion. And because of that, the bond cost for that was 1,560,000,000, somewhere in there, okay? Which means what? You had billions left over. They could have floated another bond issue. Plan that. Did they put that down in there? Nope. So, and this is Century Urban that did this study. They did it the wrong way the first time. I started screaming about it. Lauren Taylor said I was wrong. I said, I'm not wrong. Hi, Lauren. Oakland is ran by people who think small, not big. They're afraid to think big. They'll say, we don't have any money, when in point of fact, they're sitting on a gold mine of money. They just don't know how to use the current legislation to get it. All of that is why we are in Las Vegas. Because the Athletics saw a clearer path in Las Vegas to getting the land they needed without the hoops they had to jump through with environmental concerns and meetings with community to a large extent, and they can move forward. Am I poo-pooing those processes? I am, because it's a little too much, okay? But you have to accept that it's the political reality in California. So the question is, how do you work with it effectively? And the answer is simple. You make absolutely certain that these processes are fast-tracked, that they don't cause you to meet for 2 years or something like that. You say, look, we've got 4 months of meeting. We're going to get this done. We have this process, and you get it done. And which is the problem. The city never had a timeline. The A's had one. This is history. This is historically a historic problem with Oakland. If you look back through history and the loss of sports teams, one fact emerges quickly. Oakland does not like to work on the sports organization's timetable. Oakland will literally do anything it can to not meet a timetable in that context. We didn't get Al Davis his upgrades when he wanted them. Timetable, right? That's 70s. We slow poked around on finding a solution when the Raiders left. The first one was $853 million. All right. So we slow poked around. It took us 10 years to figure it out. Finally did in the 90s. Okay. See the picture? And then when it came time to build a new facility with the Raiders, we slow poked around on that too. And look where it got us. Eric Grubman said it best. He said to me, Zennie, the main problem, and he said it actually to a group, I think he said it at the town hall meeting as well, but he's repeated it. Eric Grubman was the NFL's head of business affairs and the point person on the new stadium projects. And he said, paraphrasing, that we were reacting to the Raiders' threat to leave, and that was causing the planning of this new facility. But by contrast, in Las Vegas, they were building for the Raiders and for economic development. They weren't reacting to anything other than the desire of the Raiders to come to Las Vegas. So, okay. But the point is, they weren't reacting, and that when you do that, you don't react in fear. You react with excitement. But in the other way, you're acting because you're afraid to lose the team. And so But even then, you're not reacting in a timely fashion. And then I'm not trying to put down Ronnie Lott here, but look, Ronnie was a first-time developer. We needed a group of developers that had deep pockets, that had experience in building large facilities to do this. And we didn't. And that's the problem. Libby should have turned around and said to the NFL, you can have the land. We'll give it to you for $1. Imagine if the NFL were the developer. Ooh, yes, we had that scenario staring at us. They didn't do it. They're more concerned with how much they could get out of the NFL. You know, milking. That's Oakland's other problem. Every land deal in the billionaire era has to be, let's soak the billionaires. Well, how about what we used to do? Business attraction, right? Well, hey, you know, we will write down this land for you and make it affordable for you to come in here and establish your business and go from there. What I'm talking about, folks, I'm talking about the seeds of job growth. Think about what I just told you. Write down the land, bring in the business. What does that mean? Jobs, jobs, jobs. So think about that whenever you hear these discussions where a business like the Cleveland Browns are not given the proper treatment or respect, not respect, but the proper consideration in terms of a negotiation of what they mean to the community. And so now they're headed out of Cleveland because Mayor Bibb want to do it his way. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to keep the Browns, which would have been reacting in fear, which is the other problem. But still, if the Browns needed a stadium, you flip it. You turn the fear to excitement for what you're going to build with the Browns. And the mayor did not build that excitement. And so the mayor failed. Okay. You can't just say, well, there are more important things. No, there aren't. You're losing jobs, dude, and money. You're losing jobs and money and cachet. Oh, and let's not forget internet attention, all right? In this day and age, that equals money. So you're going to chase all that away and then say we have more important problems when what you're really doing is you're giving a reason for those problems to fester more because you don't have enough business investment to counter them. You see what I'm saying, folks? You see how stupid that is? All right? It's just dumb. It's not city building. It's not community building. It's not investment causing. It's dumb. And people who think this is good, hey, you know what? Look at the condition of the cities that adopt the point of view you espouse. There isn't one city that you can point to that benefits from a perspective that ends with businesses leaving or shutting down or closing. Okay? That's stupid. It's against economic training. We all learned in economics, I hope you did, that gross domestic product equals C plus I. C is consumption, plus I, which is business investment, plus G, which is government, plus NE, which is net exports. You can also apply that to regions. So what happens when you increase the G? You increase spending, that's government. What happens when you increase the I? That's business investment. It goes up too. So what happens when a business leaves a region? That I goes down. That's what's going on in all of these cases. Think. Stuff's ridiculous. I want you to think about everything that I told you just now in consideration of the importance of this groundbreaking and what it means to Las Vegas. It means investment. It means jobs. Okay? Jobs. It means direct jobs at the facility. It means indirect jobs for other businesses that benefit from are going to benefit from all of those people coming down there. You can't tell me that having a facility that does what no other facility in Las Vegas has done, which is to, invite many thousands of people to be at it, and then also a hotel to stay at the same time. Okay, you would say, Zennie, that's not true. You're talking about a city where people go to gamble. Got it. I'm wrong. My point is, from an event standpoint, bringing thousands of people in to watch. We're talking about 40 ball games at home, something like that, more than that, somewhere in there. No, that's for basketball. It's more than that. 82 games, 82 home games. Thank you. 82 home games in baseball, 41 in basketball, 82 home games in baseball. So you're talking about 82 home games. Phew. That's 82 home games that were never in Las Vegas on a major league level before. 82 times you all have to draw people there and then to get those people to buy something. The essence of business. Don't ever tell me it's not going to work. Because those foot traffic numbers matter. More so in this instance than what you say is TV market and what I say is a 20th century measure. The 21st century measure includes online. And online, this ballpark will rule. Watch. Okay? Watch. I'll have more thoughts later. I'll see you on Monday. Remember, be there, but be square.